The keycard beeped 3 times before Amal realized she'd been given the wrong room number. She stood frozen in the doorway of Suite 824, her cleaning cart wedged against her hip, staring at the man in the wheelchair. He sat perfectly still by the window, his back to her, shoulders rigid beneath an expensive black shirt. The Seoul skyline stretched behind him, neon bleeding into the twilight. "I'm so sorry, she started. "Close the door." His voice cut through the air like a blade. Korean accent, but his English was flawless. Cold. Amal's hand tightened on the cart handle. "Sir, I was told this room needed." "I said close it." He still hadn't turned around. "Unless you want everyone on this floor to hear what happens next." Her pulse kicked up. She'd been working at the Imperial Palace Hotel for 3 weeks, and in that time she'd learned to spot trouble. This man radiated it like heat off asphalt, but something in his voice, not quite a threat, more like exhaustion, made her step inside and let the door click shut behind her. "I don't want any trouble," she said, keeping her voice steady. "I'll just go get the manager and sort out." "You're American." He said it like an accusation. "Detroit," she answered, unsure why she was still talking to him. Her supervisor had warned her about the 8th floor. VIP guests. Don't ask questions. Don't make eye contact. Definitely don't linger. The man's laugh was bitter, sharp. "Detroit, of course." Finally, he turned his wheelchair to face her. Amal forgot how to breathe. He was younger than his voice suggested, maybe 30, with the kind of face that belonged in magazines. Sharp jaw, dark eyes that looked like they'd witnessed things that would make most people flinch. A scar ran from his left eyebrow into his hairline, pale against his skin. But it was the exhaustion in those eyes that caught her. The kind of tired that sleep couldn't fix. "You're starring," he said. "You told me to close the door. I'm waiting to know why." Something flickered across his face. Surprise, maybe, or amusement. It vanished quickly. "What's your name?" "Amal." She lifted her chin. "And I really should." "Amal." He tested the word, his accent wrapping around it in a way that made her skin prickle. "Do you know who I am?" "Should I?" "No." He wheeled closer, and she noticed his hands, scarred knuckles, a tattoo creeping from beneath his cuff. "That's the only reason you're still standing here. Everyone else in this hotel knows. Everyone else is terrified." "I'm not terrified," she lied. His eyes swept over her, taking in her uniform, her braids pulled back in a neat bun, the small rip in her left shoe she kept meaning to fix. When his gaze returned to her face, something in his expression had shifted. "You should be," but there was no heat in it, just fact. "I'm Kangin, and 3 days ago my own brother tried to kill me." The words hung in the air between them. Outside, a siren wailed in the distance. "Why are you telling me this?" Amal whispered. "Because you're the first person in 72 hours who's looked at me like I'm human." He said it simply, without self-pity. "Everyone else sees the wheelchair and starts planning my funeral. My enemies think I'm weak. My allies think I'm finished. And the people who work for me," his smile was razor-thin, "they're waiting to see which side wins before they decide where their loyalty lies." Amal's mind raced. She should run, report this, call security. Instead, she heard herself ask, what happened? "Car accident, except it wasn't an accident." Kangin's jaw tightened. "My brother Hongju has always wanted what I have. He just finally got desperate enough to take it. The crash should have killed me. Instead, it just..." He gestured to his legs with disgust. "How long?" "Since I could walk. 12 days. Since I could." He stopped, looked away. 10 years since certain other things worked the way they should. The accident just finished what started long ago." The vulnerability in his admission caught Amal off guard. This man who commanded fear with his presence, reduced to this, trapped in a body that had betrayed him, in a world that saw weakness as a death sentence. "Why are you in a hotel?" she asked. "Shouldn't you be in a hospital or home or..." "Home isn't safe. The hospital isn't safe. This room..." He gestured around them. "I own this hotel. I own half this city, and I still can't trust that I'll wake up tomorrow." A phone buzzed on the desk behind him. Once, twice, 3 times. Kangin didn't move to answer it. You need to leave now, he said quietly. Before someone sees you here, before you become a liability. Amal should have been grateful for the dismissal, should have grabbed her cart and run. But something in his eyes, that desperate, drowning look of a man who'd forgotten what kindness felt like, kept her rooted. What if I came back? The words escaped before she could stop them. Tomorrow, same time to clean, actually clean this time. Kang-in stared at her like she'd spoken a language he didn't understand. Why would you do that? Amal thought of Detroit, of the things she'd run from, of the person she was trying to become in this strange city halfway around the world. Because everyone deserves to be seen as human, she said, even mafia bosses in wheelchairs. For the first time, something like hope flickered across his face. Then the door exploded inward, and 3 men in black suits flooded the room with guns drawn. The first gunman grabbed Amal by her braids, yanking her head back so hard her vision sparked white. Her scream died in her throat as cold metal pressed against her temple. Don't move, the man hissed in Korean. But Kang-in was already moving. His wheelchair shot forward with surprising speed, and his fist connected with the second gunman's throat before anyone could react. The man dropped, choking, his weapon clattering across the carpet. Touch her again, Kang-in said softly, and I'll kill all 3 of you with my bare hands, wheelchair or not. The man holding Amal hesitated. In that split second, she drove her elbow backward into his ribs, twisted away from the gun, and stumbled toward Kang-in's wheelchair. Her survival instincts from Detroit had kicked in, the ones that remembered her older brother teaching her to fight before the overdose took him. The third man, who'd been silent until now, lowered his weapon. Boss, we didn't know you had company. Clearly, Kang-in's voice could have frozen blood. Explain why you're in my room uninvited, Jae-hun. Jae-hun was older than the others, maybe 40, with gray threading his temples and eyes that had seen too much. Your brother made his move. Hongju's called a meeting of the families tomorrow night. He's claiming you're unfit to lead, says the accident left you. He glanced at the wheelchair, uncomfortable. Incapacitated. So he sends you to verify the rumors. Kang-in's laugh was ugly. Tell me, Jae-hun, are you here as my security chief or as Hongju's spy? The question hung like a noose. Amal's heart hammered against her ribs. She was pressed against the side of Kang-in's wheelchair now. His hand had somehow found hers, squeezed once, a warning or reassurance, she couldn't tell which. Jae-hun's jaw worked. I've served your family for 20 years, your father before you. I'm here because if Hongju takes control, everything your father built burns to the ground. He's reckless, greedy. He'll start a war we can't win. That's not an answer. I'm loyal to the man who deserves loyalty. Jae-hun met Kang-in's eyes directly. Show me you're still that man. Show me you can still lead. Because right now, half our people think you're already dead. The other half are taking bets on how long before Hongju puts you in the ground. The man Kang-in had struck was climbing to his feet, murder in his eyes as he looked at Amal. She forced herself not to flinch. Everyone out, Kang-in ordered, except Jae-hun. The 2 gunmen exchanged glances but obeyed. As the door closed behind them, the tension in the room somehow grew thicker. The girl, Jae-hun started. Stays, Kang-in's tone left no room for argument. Amal, sit. She sank into the chair behind her, legs shaking. This was insane. She should be cleaning rooms, saving money to send home to her mother, staying invisible like she'd promised herself when she fled Detroit and the wreckage of her old life. Not caught in the middle of a mafia power struggle in Seoul. Jae-hun pulled out his phone, swiped through images, then held it up. These were taken 4 hours ago. Hongju meeting with the Sangyang Dragons. He's promising them territory if they back his claim. Kang-in's expression went glacial. The dragons have been enemies for 3 generations. Not anymore. Hongju's offering them everything, the ports, the gambling dens in Gangnam, even the protection contracts your father died protecting. Jae-hun's voice turned urgent. Boss, if Hongju walks into that meeting tomorrow with dragon backing, it's over. The families will fall in line. They respect strength and right now. I look weak, Kang-in finished bitterly, a cripple who can't even stand to face his enemies. Amal's voice surprised everyone, including herself. Then don't stand. Make them come to you. Both men turned to stare at her. Excuse me, Jae-hun's tone was ice. But Kang-in was listening, really listening. Go on. Amal's mind raced. You said everyone sees the wheelchair and assumes you're finished. So use it. Let them underestimate you. Let Hong Ju think he's already won. She leaned forward. My brother used to say the most dangerous fighter is the one everyone counts out. They stop watching for the knife until it's already between their ribs. Silence. Then Kang-in smiled, a real smile this time, sharp and dangerous and alive. Who was your brother? Nobody important, Amal said quietly. Just someone who understood how to survive when everyone wanted him dead. Something passed between them in that moment. Recognition, understanding, the kinship of people who'd learned to fight from the bottom. Jae-hun cleared his throat. With respect, boss, we can't plan a defense based on advice from a hotel maid who just disarmed one of your men and had the presence of mind not to panic when guns were drawn. Kang-in's eyes never left Amal's face. How long have you been in Seoul? 3 weeks. And before that? Detroit, running from, she hesitated, from people who thought I knew things I didn't, about money that disappeared, about bodies that turned up in the river. Kang-in nodded slowly, as if she'd confirmed something. You have instincts, good ones. The question is, do you have the stomach for what comes next? I don't even know what comes next, Amal protested. I clean rooms, I go home, I send money to my mother, that's it. That's my life now. Not anymore. Kang-in's voice was certain. The moment you walked through that door, you became a variable. My brother's people will have already clocked your entry. They'll investigate you, threaten you, maybe worse. The only way you stay safe now is if you're under my protection. Horror washed over her. I didn't ask for this. No one ever does. His expression softened slightly. But I'm offering you a choice. Walk away right now. Jae-hun will arrange transport, a new identity, money to start somewhere else. Or, he paused, stay, help me, and I'll make sure nothing from Detroit or anywhere else ever touches you again. Why? Amal whispered. You don't even know me. Because 10 minutes ago you looked at me and saw a person. Not a monster, not a meal ticket, not a problem to eliminate, just a person. His voice dropped. That's rarer than you think, and I could use someone around me who isn't calculating how to profit from my downfall. Jae-hun's phone buzzed. He glanced at it and swore. Boss, we have a problem. Hongju knows about the girl. He's asking questions. Kang-in's hand found Amal's again. Choose, now. She thought of Detroit, of running, of being alone in a foreign city with no one to trust, of the way Kang-in had defended her without hesitation, the way he'd seen something in her worth protecting. What do you need me to do? His smile was savage and beautiful. Tomorrow night's meeting, you're going to help me destroy my brother. Jae-hun made a strangled sound. Boss, she's a civilian, she can't possibly. The lights went out. In the darkness, Amal heard the distinctive sound of a gun being cocked. Multiple guns. And Kang-in's whispered curse. They're already here. Amal's eyes hadn't adjusted to the darkness when Kang-in's hand clamped over her mouth. He pulled her down, and she felt herself being maneuvered, impossibly fast for a man in a wheelchair, behind the heavy desk. Don't breathe, he whispered against her ear. Don't move. The emergency lights flickered on, casting everything in sickly red. Through the gap beneath the desk, Amal could see Jae-hun's feet moving toward the door. Then she heard it, the softest scrape of metal against metal. Someone was picking the lock. Jae-hun's gun came up. How many? Enough! Kang-in's voice was utterly calm. His hand moved to the underside of the desk and something clicked. A hidden compartment opened, revealing 2 weapons. He took one, checked the chamber with practiced efficiency, and handed the other to Amal. She stared at the gun like it was a snake. You know how to use it? He asked. Detroit flashed through her mind. Her brother's apartment. The men who'd come looking for money that was never there. The gun she'd grabbed from the floor, the way her hands had shaken so badly she'd dropped it twice before. "Yes," she whispered. The door opened, not kicked in, not rushed, just opened, calm and controlled. A woman stepped through. She was stunning, cold beauty wrapped in a black suit that probably cost more than Amal made in 6 months. Her hair was pulled back severely, exposing a face that could have been carved from marble. When she smiled, it didn't reach her eyes. "Kangin Opa," she said sweetly. "Still hiding in hotel rooms, how pathetic." "Min Seo." Kangin's tone was neutral. "I'd say it's good to see you, but we both know I taught you not to lie unnecessarily." Min Seo's laugh was like breaking glass. "You taught me many things, before you got too broken to teach anyone anything." Her eyes swept the room, lingered on Jae-hun. "Jae-hun SSI, still playing loyal dog. Hongju is offering triple your current salary, and both your legs work." "Get out," Jae-hun growled. In a moment, Min Seo moved further into the room, her heels silent on the carpet. 4 men filed in behind her, weapons drawn but not aimed. Yet, "I'm here on behalf of your brother, Opa. He wanted me to deliver a message personally." "How sentimental. What does Hongju want?" "Your formal resignation, signed tonight." She pulled a document from her jacket. "Step down, name him successor, and he'll let you live. Keep the hotel. Keep whatever dignity a cripple can manage. He's being generous." Amal felt Kangin's body tense beside her. His finger moved to the trigger. "And if I refuse?" Min Seo's smile widened. "Then tomorrow's meeting becomes your funeral. Hongju has the dragons, the Busan families, and—" She paused for effect. "The police commissioner. It's over, Opa. You just haven't admitted it yet." "The commissioner," Jae-hun's voice cracked. "That's impossible. We've had him for years." Had being the operative word. Hongju paid better, promised more. Min Seo shrugged. "Money talks, wheelchairs don't." Amal watched Kangin's face in the red emergency light. Watched something die behind his eyes, then reignite, hotter, angrier. When he spoke, his voice could have cut steel. "Tell me something, Min Seo. Do you remember what I taught you about negotiations?" Her smile faltered slightly. "Never negotiate from weakness." "Close, never assume your opponent is weak." He rolled forward slightly, into view. "You walked in here thinking I'm desperate, broken, that I'd sign anything to save my worthless life. Aren't you? 3 years ago, I told you I loved you. You said you loved me too. Then I found out you'd been feeding information to the Yakuza for 6 months, trying to engineer a takeover." His voice was conversational, almost pleasant. "I should have killed you then. My father said mercy was weakness. I'm starting to think he was right." Min Seo's composure cracked. "You couldn't kill me then, and you can't kill me now. You're half a man, Kangin. Everyone knows it. 10 years without." The gunshot was deafening in the enclosed space. Min Seo's phone exploded in her hand. She screamed, stumbling backward as plastic and glass fragments tore into her palm. Her men raised their weapons, but Kangin already had his gun trained on her head. "Next one goes between your eyes," he said calmly. "Tell Hongju if he wants my resignation, he can come ask for it himself, like a man, not send his whore to do his negotiating." "You bastard." "Get out." Min Seo clutched her bleeding hand, hatred burning in her eyes. "You're dead. You know that. Dead." "I've been dead before. It didn't take." Kangin's smile was terrible. "Now leave before I change my mind about letting you walk out of here." She backed toward the door, her men covering her retreat. At the threshold, she turned back. "Hongju said you'd be stupid enough to fight. Good. Makes it more fun when we kill you. And whoever that is you're hiding behind the desk, we'll find her too. Make her watch before." The second shot took out the camera in the upper corner. Then the third shot shattered the tablet one of her men was holding. "I said, get out." They fled. The silence afterward was crushing. Amal realized she was shaking, the gun heavy in her hands. Kangin gently took it from her, set it aside, then pulled her against him. She could feel his heart racing beneath the expensive shirt. "You okay?" he murmured. She laughed hysterically. "Am I okay? Someone just threatened to kill me in a language I barely understand while I hid behind a desk with a loaded gun, and you're asking if I'm okay. Fair point. His arms tightened around her. For what it's worth, you didn't panic. Most people would have. Jae-hun was on his phone, speaking rapid Korean. When he hung up, his face was grim. They've cut the power to the entire building. My men are reporting Hongju's people on every floor. We're trapped. Then we don't hide. Kang-in released Amal, his expression hardening into something that made her understand why people feared him. We go on offense. Jae-hun, how many of our people can you get here in 30 minutes? Maybe 20. But boss, even if we fight our way out, then what? Hongju owns tomorrow's meeting, owns the commissioner. We can't win a war we've already lost. We're not fighting a war. Kang-in looked at Amal, and she saw calculation in his eyes now. Strategy. We're staging a resurrection, and I just figured out how. How? Jae-hun demanded. Kang-in's smile was dangerous. We give Hongju exactly what he wants. We give him a funeral. Amal's stomach dropped. What are you talking about? You said make them underestimate me, make them think they've won. His eyes gleamed. So tomorrow night, Hongju is going to stand in front of every crime family in Seoul and announce my death. He's going to claim leadership. And right when he thinks he's untouchable. You show up alive, Amal whispered, understanding dawning. You show up and prove he's a liar, prove he tried to kill you. Exactly, but it only works if he believes I'm actually dead, which means... The lights came back on, and standing in the doorway, gun pointed directly at Kang-in's chest, was a man who looked exactly like him. Same face, same build. But where Kang-in's eyes held steel and fire, this man's held nothing but emptiness. Hello, brother, Hongju said softly. Did you really think I wouldn't bug Min Seo's phone? His finger tightened on the trigger. Amal moved without thinking. She lunged sideways, slamming into Kang-in's wheelchair as the gun went off. The bullet carved through space where his head had been seconds before, burying itself in the wall behind them. They hit the ground hard, Kang-in rolling from the chair, Amal on top of him. She felt his grunt of pain, felt something wrong in the way his legs twisted beneath them. But he was already moving, dragging them both behind the overturned wheelchair as Jae-hun returned fire. Hongju dove left. His men poured through the doorway, 6, 7, too many. The room erupted into chaos. The bathroom, Kang-in shouted over the gunfire. Go! Jae-hun laid down covering fire while Kang-in half-crawled, half-dragged himself across the carpet. Amal grabbed him under the arms, pulling with strength she didn't know she had. Her muscles screamed. Behind them, Jae-hun grunted, hit but still shooting. They made it through the bathroom door as marble exploded around them. Kang-in kicked it shut, locked it, then immediately started pulling at the tile beneath the sink. What are you? The tile came away, revealing a hidden panel, a passageway dark and narrow. My father built this hotel, Kang-in panted. Blood streaked his lip where he'd bitten it. Every room on this floor has an escape route. Help me. Amal heard the bathroom door shudder under impact. They were breaking through. She grabbed Kang-in around the waist and hauled him toward the opening. He was heavier than he looked, all muscle despite the wheelchair. They tumbled into darkness together as the door splintered behind them. The passage was barely wide enough for one person, let alone two. Kang-in reached up, pulled a lever, and the panel slid shut just as bullets punched through where they'd been. Emergency lighting flickered to life, pale blue, ghostly. Jae-hun, Amal started. Is buying us time, he knows the plan. Kang-in's jaw was tight. Move, this leads to the service elevator. They crawled. The passage was metal and concrete, claustrophobic, angling downward. Amal's hands slipped on something slick, oil, water, she didn't want to know. Behind them, she heard muffled shouting. Ahead, nothing but darkness and the sound of their ragged breathing. I can't feel my legs, Kang-in said suddenly, matter of fact, like he was commenting on the weather. Haven't been able to since the crash, but sometimes I swear they still hurt. Phantom pain, the doctors called it, your body remembering what it lost. Why are you telling me this? Amal whispered. Because if we die in this tunnel, I want someone to know I wasn't always like this. That I used to, his voice caught. That I was whole once. You're still whole, she said it fiercely. That woman, Minseo, she said 10 years, what did she mean? Kang-in laughed bitterly. You really want to know? 10 years ago, I killed a man, not in business, not in war. I killed him because he touched someone I cared about. Beat him to death with my bare hands in an alley in Itaewon. He paused. After that, something broke. Maybe guilt, maybe karma, but I couldn't. My body just stopped responding. To women, to desire, to anything that wasn't rage or emptiness. Amal's heart clenched. And now? Now I'm a cripple who can't walk and can't feel anything except pain and anger. The perfect broken monster. His voice turned savage. Hongju's right. I'm not fit to lead. I'm barely fit to survive. They reached a junction. Kang-in pulled himself up using a railing, his upper body strength evident. Amal stood on shaking legs, her uniform torn and filthy. That's not true, she said. Isn't it? Look at me, Amal, really look. What do you see? She looked, saw the scars, the exhaustion, the wheelchair they'd left behind, saw the blood on his knuckles and the defeat trying to creep into his eyes. But she also saw the man who defended her without hesitation, who'd shot a phone from someone's hand with perfect precision, who'd built escape routes because he was always thinking 3 steps ahead. I see someone fighting, she said quietly. Someone who refuses to quit even when everything says he should. Something shifted in his expression. You barely know me. I know enough. She moved closer. In Detroit, I watched my brother destroy himself trying to be what everyone expected. Tough enough, hard enough, man enough, it killed him. But you, she touched his face, surprised by her own boldness. You're still here, still fighting. That's not weakness, Kang-in, that's strength. He caught her hand, held it against his cheek. His skin was warm, his pulse racing beneath her fingers. I feel something, he whispered. Right now, touching you, I feel something. The moment stretched between them, electric and impossible. Then his phone buzzed. Jae-hun's message was 2 words. They're coming. Kang-in's expression hardened. The elevator, now. They ran, or rather, Amal ran while Kang-in propelled himself using the railings with frightening speed. The passage opened into a service corridor. The elevator stood waiting, ancient and industrial. This goes directly to the sub-basement, Kang-in explained as they entered. From there, we can reach the parking garage. I have cars, weapons, everything we need to. The elevator lurched, stopped. The lights flickered once, twice, then died completely. In the darkness, Amal heard Kang-in curse. Then his phone screen illuminated, showing a video call. Hongju's face filled the display, smiling. Enjoying the ride, brother. How? I control the building systems now. The security, the elevators, everything. Father taught you to plan ahead, but I learned from your mistakes. I planned better. Hongju's smile widened. You have 2 choices. Surrender now, both of you, and I'll make it quick. Or I drop this elevator 20 floors and scrape your bodies off the concrete. Kang-in said nothing. His finger moved across the phone screen, typing something. No response. How disappointing. I expected more fight from the great Kang-in. Maybe Minseo was right. Maybe you really are all ready. The screen went black. Kang-in had killed the connection. What did you just do? Amal asked. Sent a message, not to Hongju. His voice was strained. To someone I swore I'd never ask for help, someone dangerous. More dangerous than your brother. Much more dangerous, because she'll want payment, and what she collects, he trailed off. Let's just say it's a price I might not survive paying. The elevator groaned, started moving, not down but up. That's impossible, Amal breathed. He said he controlled. He controls the building. She controls things that make buildings irrelevant. Kang-in's expression was unreadable. Hold on to me. When we reach the top, we run. Run where? The roof. There's a helicopter pad. If she got my message, she'll... The elevator jerked to a stop. The doors opened onto chaos. The 8th floor hallway was a war zone. Jae-hun was pinned behind an overturned table, bleeding from his shoulder. Hongju's men were advancing, and standing in the middle of it all, calm as death, was a woman in a white suit. She turned as they emerged. Her face was ancient and young simultaneously, beautiful in a way that hurt to look at. When she smiled at Kang-in, Amal felt her blood turn to ice. "Hello, nephew," the woman purred. "You called. Aunt Haewon came running. Now," her eyes slid to Amal, hungry and calculating. "Let's discuss payment." Aunt Haewon moved like smoke, crossing the hallway in seconds that felt like heartbeats. Her hand, adorned with rings that looked like they cost more than countries, reached toward Amal's face. Kang-in's arm shot out, blocking her. "Not her." "No," Haewon's eyebrows arched delicately. "Then what are you offering, nephew? Your empire is crumbling. Your brother wants you dead. And you interrupt my very important dinner in Tokyo to save your worthless life. What could you possibly give me that I don't already own?" Behind them, the gunfire had stopped. Hongju's men stood frozen, weapons lowered. Jae-hun stared at Haewon like she was a ghost he'd prayed he'd never see again. "The Shanghai contracts," Kang-in said through gritted teeth. "The shipping routes father left me, all of them." Haewon laughed, the sound like wind chimes made of bones. "Darling boy, I already have Shanghai. Had it for 3 years. Your father's ghost just didn't know it yet." Her gaze returned to Amal, lingering. "No, I think I want something more interesting. This beautiful creature, for instance. Such rich skin, such fire in her eyes. I could use someone like her in my Dubai operations." "Over my dead body," Kang-in growled. "That can be arranged." Haewon's smile never wavered. "But let's not be hasty. Tell me, what makes this American girl worth dying for? You've known her, what, 2 hours?" Amal found her voice. "I'm standing right here. Maybe ask me what I'm worth." The hallway went silent. Even the emergency light seemed to dim, as if the building itself was holding its breath. Haewon's eyes gleamed with something like delight. "Oh, she has teeth, I like that." She circled Amal slowly, appraising. "Very well, child, what are you worth?" "More than you can afford," Amal said, channeling every ounce of her brother's bravado, every Detroit street fight, every moment she'd survived when she shouldn't have. "I'm worth a man learning to feel again, worth a mafia boss remembering he's human, and I'm definitely worth more than whatever sick game you're playing." For a heartbeat, no one breathed. Then Haewon threw her head back and laughed, genuine, surprised laughter. "Magnificent, absolutely magnificent." She turned to Kang-in. "Where did you find her?" "She found me," he said quietly. "Wrong room, right time." "Fate, then?" Haewon's expression shifted, became almost thoughtful. "I haven't believed in fate since 1987, but perhaps." She waved a hand, and suddenly her men were moving, not attacking, but creating a perimeter. "Here's my offer. I'll deal with Hongju, permanently. In exchange, you," she pointed at Kang-in, "owe me a favor. One favor, no questions asked, to be collected whenever I choose." "No," Jae-hun rasped from behind his table. "Boss, don't. A favor from her is a noose. She'll use it to destroy you." "Silence, Jae-hun SSI. The grown-ups are negotiating." Haewon's voice could have frozen fire. "What's it going to be, nephew? Your pride or your life?" Kang-in's jaw worked. Amal could see the calculation behind his eyes, the terrible math of survival. "I need guarantees. Amal stays untouched. Jae-hun lives, and Hongju. We'll wish he'd died in the womb by the time I'm finished with him," Haewon finished. "I give you my word." "Your word means nothing." "Then you'll die in the next 5 minutes when Hongju's reinforcements arrive." She checked her watch, diamond-encrusted, casual as breathing. "They're in the stairwell now, 40 men with automatic weapons. Even I can't stop that many. But I can walk away and let nature take its course." Amal's hand found Kang-in's, squeezed. "Don't," she whispered. "We'll find another way." He looked at her then, really looked at her. And something in his expression broke her heart. It was gratitude mixed with resignation. The look of a man who'd found something precious just in time to lose it. "I accept," he said to Haewon. "Excellent." She snapped her fingers. 2 of her men moved toward the stairwell. "Consider it done. Hongju will be arrested within the hour." The police commissioner suddenly remembered his actual loyalties once I reminded him what happens to traitors. "The dragons will withdraw their support when their leader has an unfortunate accident with his yacht. And tomorrow's meeting," she smiled. We'll proceed exactly as planned with you in attendance. Walking. Kang-in went very still. What? Did you think I became who I am without connections? I have a surgeon. Israeli, very discreet, very expensive. He's pioneered treatments for spinal injuries that won't exist publicly for another decade. Haewon's eyes glittered. He'll have you walking in 6 weeks, everything else working in 3 months. Consider it a signing bonus for our new arrangement. Why? The word tore from Kang-in's throat. Why would you? Because broken tools are useless to me, and when I collect my favor, nephew, I need you whole, strong, capable of doing things that would make your father weep. She turned to leave, then paused. Oh, and the girl, keep her close. Something tells me she's going to be very important to both of us. Then she was gone, her men flowing after her like shadows. The hallway stood empty except for the 3 of them and the bodies of Hongju's guards, unconscious, not dead. Haewon's mercy, such as it was. Jae-hun limped over, clutching his shoulder. Boss, you just made a deal with the devil. I know, Kang-in's voice was hollow, but we're alive. For now, when she collects. I'll handle it. He turned to Amal, and she saw something in his eyes that made her chest tight. You should go, back to America, back to Detroit, anywhere but here. What's coming? Is my choice, Amal interrupted. You said I became a variable the moment I walked through that door. Well, I'm choosing to stay a variable, to see this through. You don't understand what you're choosing. Maybe not, but I understand that 2 hours ago you were a man who'd forgotten how to feel. And now, she touched his face again, traced the scar above his eyebrow. Now you're feeling something, I want to see where that leads. Kang-in caught her hand, pressed his lips to her palm. The gesture was tender and desperate. You're insane. Probably, Detroit does that to people. She smiled, trying for brave and landing somewhere near terrified. Besides, you promised to help me disappear. People from my past, remember? I'm holding you to that. Deal. His thumb traced circles on her wrist, and she felt his pulse hammering beneath her fingers. Alive, racing, real. Fair warning, though. Being with me, it's going to be dangerous, complicated. My body's broken, my family's a nightmare, and I just sold my soul to the most dangerous woman in Asia. Good thing I like complicated. Amal's voice dropped. And for the record, you're not as broken as you think. The moment stretched between them like a wire pulled taut. Then Kang-in pulled her down, and his lips found hers, tentative at first, then hungry. 10 years of nothing, and suddenly everything. Amal tasted blood and expensive whiskey and something electric that made her forget they were standing in a hallway full of unconscious bodies. When they broke apart, both breathless, Jae-hun was pointedly looking elsewhere. If you two are finished, he muttered, we should move. Hongju might be getting arrested, but his people don't know that yet, and I need a hospital before I bleed out. Kang-in's phone buzzed, a message from an unknown number. Helicopter arriving in 3 minutes. Rooftop, bring the girl. HW. She doesn't waste time, Amal breathed. Never has. Kang-in's expression was unreadable. Last chance to run, Amal. After this, there's no going back. She thought of Detroit, of her mother's voice on crackling phone lines, telling her to be safe, be smart, be invisible. Of her brother's grave and the men who'd killed him. Of the life she'd been running from and the life she'd been running toward. Then she looked at Kang-in, scarred, dangerous, broken in all the ways that mattered and whole in all the ways that didn't. A man who defended her, trusted her, kissed her like she was oxygen and he was drowning. I'm not running, she said, not anymore. They made it to the roof as helicopter blades cut through the soul night. The aircraft was sleek, black, expensive. A man in surgical scrubs waited by the door, medical bag in hand. As they lifted into the air, Amal watched the city spread below them. Millions of lights, millions of stories, millions of people who had no idea that tonight, in a hotel room on the 8th floor, a receptionist and a mafia boss had just rewritten both their futures. Kang-in's hand found hers in the darkness, held tight. What happens now? She asked over the rotor noise. He smiled, sharp, dangerous, and for the first time since she'd met him, genuinely hopeful. Now, We burn it all down and build something new. The helicopter banked east, toward whatever came next. Behind them, police sirens wailed through the Seoul night as Hongju's world collapsed. Ahead, nothing but darkness and possibility. And somewhere in the city below, Aunt Haewon watched them go, a favor owed and a plan already forming. The game had only just begun.